see me, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, I can totally. Look at those beautiful eyes. What are they? Brown? Black? We're women in black. Be pretty. Get her going. Be girly.
Down.
I'll say down is good. I like down. Also, yeah, just like that.
Yeah, we can do it like this.
Cousin it like.
Yeah.
Like. Hi everybody. Guess what? This is Julie, and she's helping us with Pep Rally.
I am a speaker. I'm a wellness advocate, and particularly mental health advocate. And I'm a traveler.
And an amazing human being. And guys, she actually talks to kids about mental health and wellness. We had a very interesting conversation today. We talked about
A lot of things. All the things.
But most importantly, feeling good.
Yeah.
The simplest, most awesome concept.
Feeling good.
So
you feel good right now?
I feel so good.
I feel great.
Oh, I feel so
I think it's
good.
because I'm with you though.
And guess what? You guys can be with us! And I hope you enjoy this beautiful episode.
Love it.
It's good to feel good. I like that.
You deserve to feel good.
My lovely, tell us about your work as a wellness advocate. This is so exciting, and I'm so grateful to have met her, to be honest. The universe just kind of brought us together, so it's really cool.
We just click from day one. Soul sisters.
So tell us about your advocacy work and why it's important to you.
Yeah, so recently I think I've become a really strong advocate for wellness, but more specifically mental health. And partially because of my own experiences, partially because I feel like it's an issue that needs attention today, and specifically towards youth, and being that voice towards youth that I would have wanted to hear when I was that age. And so recently, in the past year, I've gotten involved in a speaking role with Jack.org, and they're a national charity that works with youth across Canada in mental health. And it really was a great platform for me to be able to express my passion and be able to speak to youth about something that I really care about.
That's amazing. Was there a point in your life where you sort of realized, like, this is really important to me? What was that journey like for you?
Yeah, there was a point in my life where I realized that courage was a really big value of mine. It is a really big value of mine. I think that if we're not practicing courage, we are not feeling like we're living our full potential. We don't feel fully alive, and we don't feel good if we're not living in our potential, I believe.
Do you think that we can practice courage?
Absolutely.
How do we do that? How do we go about setting that intention for ourselves and actually following it through? Because I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think about that.
So I think practicing courage, both for me, and I can talk from my own experience, being courageous is being vulnerable. And a lot of the times, the things that we don't want to do, we're hesitant, we have resistance towards, that are uncomfortable essentially, are the things that will help us grow and make us feel more good once we practice the courage. And that can be really scary.
Absolutely. Now, why do you think it's important to feel good, period?
I feel like Isn't
that the most simple concept to think about? I feel good. And to be honest, I really truly believe that we all know what not feeling good feels like. Yeah. Right? And unfortunately, like 80% of our lives, we learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, almost, but there's a constant balance is what I mean. Like when we think about the moments in life that we remember, they're usually in reference to overcoming some kind of hardship, right? It's like I remember being like bullied as a kid and how important it was for me to fit in. Therefore, it sharpened my sense of humor and it made me who I am today, which is a wonderful memory, but I remember the hardship that led to that at the same time. So it's important to understand that there's a duality to everything.
Absolutely.
And yet, why is it that most of the time we don't appreciate feeling good, or we don't actively try or strive for that? Do you find that that's the case? I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I think appreciating feeling good, personally, I think when we know what it feels like to not feel good, or to be in a place where we feel stuck, or we feel like we're not doing what we want to be doing, or we feel disconnected or alone, And then we kind of grow from that, which I feel like that's where my passion and my purpose to be able to inspire people, and I think for you too, just to be able to inspire people
and
is
connect,
because we felt what the other way feels like, and so then that's how I feel like we come to appreciate feeling good.
Oh, I love that. So you're saying that they're sort of connected in a way, so that one bounces you up towards the other.
Absolutely.
You almost have to have that as inspiration and be able to see it as an inspiring point, so that you have a new platform to bounce up from.
Absolutely.
True?
I think our struggles are our greatest opportunity. Love that.
They
really are, because I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for times where I have literally felt like there were no options. I was stuck. I would never get to where I wanted to get. And that's literally what I thought in that moment.
Would you share with us one of those moments where you felt like that was a bouncing up place for you? From a personal perspective or from a professional perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I feel that in high school, I really struggled with belonging and feeling like, I didn't fit in. I was in a private school at the time, and things were good on paper, things were good on the outside, but inside I was really struggling. I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't know who I was, and that was really difficult for me. And so it kind of led to this really dark time in my life, really, essentially, when I was in grade 10. There was a lot of personal things happening in the circumstances in my life, but also in just my mindset, in how I felt inside. And I truly felt like, that there was nothing, it wasn't worth it. That like, why am I here? I wasn't happy. And I think like that was a catalyst for like essentially when I got out of high school, I decided, I did so much work to get out of that place and just to work on, incorporating habits, getting support so that I could feel good within myself. And then I basically decided that after that I would want to be a voice and be able to impart that on other people, really.
Do you know what I absolutely love that you just did? You said the words, I decided. I think that's such a powerful thing to be aware of and to understand, because without making a decision for a certain direction that you want your life to go into, you can't even begin to build towards that direction, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's so vital to sort of just highlight, as we are talking about productivity and about how to get from point A to point B, making the decision is like the foundation that you need to get to anywhere that you want in life.
Yeah.
And then aligning with that decision and going. And the other thing that what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think making a decision has an energy about it, right?
Yes, it's active. It's like, ooh, like you're going in a direction.
Like I'm going to do what it takes to make this happen.
Even if you don't know how, even if those components haven't yet like materialized, or you know that once you say I'm doing this, you're doing it.
You're
going in that direction.
You don't know, if you may not know the details, but you know that that's the direction you're going into.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now I'm curious, and how because we think about this kind of stuff all the time. But you mentioned not belonging, like the feeling of not belonging. Why do you think it's important to us as human beings to have a foundation of belonging,
right?
Or to decide that we belong to something.
Yeah.
Because I really truly believe that we have to do that. We have to belong somewhere,
I feel like we're wired to connect, really, and I think what it comes down to is biologically, emotionally, we are on this planet to connect and to collaborate. And if we don't feel that we're able to do that, we feel an emptiness, like a sense of loss, and that we don't belong, really.
Yeah. And how do we start reframing that for ourselves? What do you think that process looks like?
I'm going to quote.
Because it is a process. Yes, please quote.
I'm going to quote. So one of my role models is Brene Brown, and she talks about fitting in versus belonging, and how fitting in requires us to be someone else, whereas belonging requires us to be who you are. And so I think when we can be who we are and feel like accepted for that, and that we can be able to share our imperfections, our talents, our strengths, our weaknesses, and that's embraced, I think that's where we feel like we can truly connect and we feel that sense of belonging.
So how do we tend to feel accepted? Because, okay, so like many of our lovely little viewers, you're going through high school, you're growing up. Oftentimes, and this is a shared experience, trust me on this, everybody
you are
feels
not
at
alone.
some point,
You're never alone. Doesn't matter what Instagram, and that's the thing, Instagram, social media, you know, like can paint a picture that
yes, it's almost
no one's like this
unattainable,
person.
or like there's a certain perfection or an image that you can craft, but the feeling never lies. Right? So like how do we create that feeling of belonging, I guess? How do we feel like we belong when the outside, like when our exterior conditions, so when other people don't validate that for you, how do you create that feeling of belonging? Because I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, believe that you have to set that tone, especially because you can't control anybody else but yourself, right? It's like, so if you don't have it coming at you, you have to drive it from within.
Absolutely. We have to belong to ourselves, really. We have to belong to ourselves.
Like that.
Yeah.
So how do we do that?
Well, you know, there's this whole like revolution, love yourself, accept yourself. And, you know, there is truth to that. There's a reason why that's becoming such a big deal these days, because we need to love ourselves first. You know, like how are people...
Which means accepting all parts of yourself, including your vulnerability.
Yes.
There was something that when Julie and I first met, we had the most amazing conversation. She said something that resonated with me so well. She said, vulnerability is our superpower. 100%. And I was like, yeah! Like, why do you think that? Why do you think that? Why do you think vulnerability is our superpower? And I honestly think it's very much connected to how we foster our own sense of belonging when we embrace that.
I think because vulnerability is our greatest act of courage, really. I think when we're being vulnerable, we're being our most courageous selves.
We're almost like naked, right? It's like you're literally, this is it, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And if I like it, if I own it, if I'm happy with it, then they have to be as well.
It naturally happens.
Because it is, right? Yeah. It's like so funny, like talk about decisions, because we started this conversation talking about decisions. Okay. One of the hardest things that you can do in life is the acting profession, because you feel like your fate is in the hands of everyone else. Literally, you feel like you have no control at the very beginning of this. When I decided I wanted to be an actor, when I truly decided, I started calling myself an actor, I became an actor, and everything else followed. But until I remember distinctly moving to Toronto and saying, I'm an actor. No matter what else was happening in my life, I said the words, I'm an actor, and I aligned with them, and it was.
Because what happens, I think, when you make that decision, you're owning that part of yourself, and then
including your vulnerability
and
all the rest of the stuff that you might think might not work out, right?
Absolutely.
Fascinating. Oh, I love
it. This girl is pure love. You're such a, and I think we've connected. One of the biggest things we connected on is just the desire to share from our experiences, and really the shitty parts as well, because, you know, life is not all rainbows and sunshine, but it is about what we learn from those experiences, and being able to impart that and just remind, like, you guys, and just remind each other, even, because life is never perfect, that, you know, we have a choice on how we see things, and we can still be ourselves even if life knocks us down.
And the best part about all of this, the best part about Pep Rally, which is this initiative that Pep Mag is intending to do, is that it is a reminder, exactly like Julie just said. These are not things that, you know, these are revelations. To some that have never, you know, heard these kinds of ideas before, they may be revelations, and I hope to God they springboard more and more ideas of inspiration and take you in directions that will be so helpful for life. But at the same time, the aim of this is to have a support system that continues to inspire you, not just in the down times, but consistently to remember who you are. Because this is who we are as human beings. We are connected. We are co-creative. We are we are meant to inspire each other. You know what I mean? And that's the best part of life. The best things that ever come out of any activity that you do in life come from inspiration. You know, and we do need to have things like that. Oh, you inspire me. Honestly, I'm so grateful to have someone like Julie here, someone who actually resonates with these kinds of ideas on your own, on your own.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about the idea of inspiration, because to some people it seems like such a nebulous thought. Because again, you can't really equate it. You can't put your finger on it. You can't replicate it in any way. It is or it isn't. It happens at various times or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a common thread to this alignment and this inspiration. And it is what? What is it? What do you think it is for you?
Personally, I think my motivation to inspire has come from my darkness. So I feel like that duality, you're talking like our light is formed from our darkness.
I love that.
I think that we can't recognize how powerful our light is when we can't recognize the value of our darkness as well. So I feel like my times of like feeling like inspired, or that I wanted to inspire other people, has come from times when I felt uninspired, and I know what that feels like, and I know you know what that feels like too.
Absolutely. And it's the shared experience that you're able to echo and sort of be open about that makes you trust and be open and comfortable to just sort of whatever else comes. And that's when that's the floodgate opening to the inspiration, right? And what I think is remarkable about what you just said, and I absolutely love what you just said, is that if you find yourself right now in high school or in school, and I have a lot of you guys messaging me all the time, where you're feeling these little feelings of anxiety and depression, and you're getting bullied, and family life at home may not be the best, and you're in that dark place that Julie's talking about, that is possible for each and every single one of us at various times in life. We fall in and out of, the waves of emotion.
What would be your key nugget of perspective that you want to share?
In terms of if you find yourself
what would
in
you
that
tell
place?
to your younger, to your high school self about where you were at that time?
Oh, that's so good. It's okay. You're enough. Wherever you are right now is fine. It's enough. I always felt like I didn't quite belong, because when I first came to Canada, I was learning a new language, I was trying to fit in, it was, trying to do 1,000,001 things. I was part of every club. I was the biggest overachiever in the world, because I thought, you know what? Something in there is going to make someone out there like me.
You needed to do those things to feel enough.
Absolutely. And then the biggest thing that came out of that was just the sense of, it made me who I am. I'm definitely not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, but my personal journey has been just a place of finding comfort with myself in this very moment, just being proud of everything I've accomplished. It's all been a part of me. It is enough. And wherever I bounce up from this place is going to be whatever the next thing is. Whatever I know is enough. It's good. It's okay. Wherever I am right now in this very moment,
you're
it's
always
okay.
enough. You're always enough. It's unconditional. It really is unconditional.
What is a nugget that you would want your younger self, struggling or not?
I think the biggest, one of my favorite quotes is so simple, but it's, this too shall pass. And it's so powerful, and it just is a reminder that the way things are, the circumstances that are currently present in your life, and you may be in a dark place or not, whatever is happening, life is always changing and always shifting. And being in a crappy place, it is never forever. It might feel that way. That's the thing. Our minds can trick us to believe that we'll always feel like that. But that is one of the biggest lies. And I remember how I felt in high school. And coming out of that experience and feeling good after made me realize that every so-called negative struggle experience passes, and it's a matter of how we choose to be in that, choosing to feel enough, recognizing that we're worthy. Keep reaching for a better feeling thought, a better feeling idea, a better feeling person. Yes, and being around people that love you for who you are is very important. And so basically things are constantly changing, and also we have the power to tell my younger self that you have the power to really create anything you want in your life, and it's like nothing's stopping you.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful, girlfriend. Well, I just want to let the power of what she just said sit there for a second. And in closing, what I would genuinely love to know, Julie, because she's going to be joining us for many more episodes, guys. This is going to be a thing. But I want to know what one of the best feelings about speaking to kids is for you while you do it.
What's the best feeling?
What is the best feeling? What is the source of passion that you feel, the most delightful little thing that you feel when speaking to kids and after speaking to kids, or why do you do it?
Well, I feel, to be honest, I feel like what inspires, what energizes me most about having the opportunity to speak to sort of my younger self is that I feel like I can be a voice that I would have wanted to hear, and to just simply offer that perspective, to just be a reminder to younger people, to youth, that they're not alone, that they're worthy, and that whatever you're dealing with, you have the tools to handle it.
God, I love that so much. It's so funny. I may have told you this when we first met, but I always wanted to have a mentor growing up. And one of the main reasons why I started Pep Mag and why I continue doing what I'm doing is because it is a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful idea, and however it will continue to develop, it will continue to develop. But to know that I can offer whatever I have now in that sense of mentorship and just sharing and offering of information, so that if someone finds themselves in the situation that I was years and years and years ago, they have access, they have options, and I think that is so valuable, and I just love that you said that. And that's one of the best things that we can do for each other is just communicate, share, be open. Because again, you can't control what anyone is going to take away from a conversation, from an interaction, from anything. That's a very personal thing, but what we can do is offer access. And information is power. Connection is power.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this. I want to thank the beautiful Julie for joining us. And we are going to do a little connecty thing here for all the interweb social goodness that is going to follow, because we want to make this a more regular thing. And if you have questions and comments and want to add anything to this conversation or share this conversation in any way, we are very much open to it and encourage that. Comment, share, subscribe, like it.
Love it.
It's good to feel good.
You deserve to feel good.
Thank you so much for joining us.